Last year, I asked the question of the group that was here, can you teach creativity? And we've heard a lot here about creativity. And the answer that I gave was that I don't think you can teach it, but I think what you can teach is you can teach people how to tap into the creativity that they have, but they didn't know that they had. So what I want to do is kind of expand on that here a little bit this afternoon, because I really believe that to be true. So before we expand on it, let's just talk about what creativity is all about. And we've heard some of this today. It's about having great new ideas, right? Now, how many people here have had great new ideas, by show of hands? Yep, that's 100%, right? And if I, but there's so we know. And if I ask that question of any room, I'm going to have 100% of hands go up in every room, right? So creativity must be more than just having great new ideas, because everybody has great new ideas. So what's the second part of it? The second part of it is expressing those ideas in a way that connects to people. It's not just about having great ideas, because we all have teams of people who have fantastic ideas, but they don't always connect to us. So what I want to talk about is that second part a little bit. How do you connect your ideas so that those great ideas can be utilized and realized by other people? So before I talk about that, I want to talk about why I think I'm qualified to touch on this subject a little bit. And to answer that question, I need to tell you that what you're looking at here is a plan B. Yeah. So when I was 14, 15 years old, I don't remember ever telling my mother and father, I want to be a corporate facilitator. That's it. What do you want to be when you grow up? Corporate facilitator. Absolutely. There's like no doubt about it. That's what I want to do. Wasn't exactly what I had in mind then. My plan A was that. So I was going to be a rock star. There was no doubt about it. I was going to be a rock star. And I was going to be a rock star because I was a musician. I was in a lot of bands. I was a songwriter. That was my thing, right? It's what defined me all through high school, all through college. That's what I was. That's a Halloween costume, by the way. That is me. But that's not what I looked like when I wanted to be a rock star. That's what I looked like about 2 years ago when I can't be a rock star anymore. What I looked like when I wanted to be a rock star, though, is something like this. So these are some pictures of when I was a rock star, and I show these, Anthony, for you, so people want to know what I look like when I had hair. There it is. But these are actual promo pictures that I took from my budding musical career when I was young, okay? And I pursued that dream fairly seriously until I went into the business world and realized that probably makes a little bit more money than a wannabe rock star. And so I started moving on in my career, but I never really gave up the dream of music. So I joined up with this association, really to learn, because I said, you know what? I'm doing well in my career. So if I have this dream of being a musician, what do I need to know really about writing music that would connect with people more? There's that phrase again. So they had this great conference out in LA, took money out of my own pocket, flew out to LA, and I did this conference. And in this conference, there was probably about 500 people. And there was one particular session where all the people sat in a room, looked just like this. In fact, that was the room. This is the conference. And they had this listening session. So you can submit your music, okay, and they would play it over the loudspeaker in this huge auditorium, just like this. And up on the stage were all record company executives and movie producers and all kinds of people that can evaluate your music and your songs. I didn't submit anything that day, but I listened to the people that did. What was really interesting about the music that we heard was there was a lot of great ideas, but very few of them actually connected. The ones that did connect, the audience standing on their feet. These were recordings that were played over a loudspeaker. And the way they connected was by following what I now know is a dramatic arc. Has anybody ever heard of a dramatic arc? Yeah? So we talked a little bit about storytelling. Dramatic arc is one of the ways that you can tell stories. There's a lot of ways, a lot of different methodologies. This one came to us from a guy named Gustav Freytag back in 1863. He was a playwright and novelist. He analyzed the dramatic structure of novelists, playwrights like William Shakespeare, 5-act play structures. And what he said was, there's a dramatic arc that's followed in the most successful stories that have ever been told. And that dramatic arc looks something like this. And it's been modified throughout the years, but it starts with an introduction. Then you have some type of a conflict, that you have rising action, that you are getting interest of your audience. You bring that to some climax, release their emotions, bring them down on a fall, and resolve whatever problem you set up. That's a story. That's a play. That's a movie. That's a way to express creativity. I listened to this in music, and I said, I'm going to start writing my songs using this. Because I had great ideas. I thought I had great music, but I don't know that it was connecting because I was playing what I thought was cool. But what I need to do is think about what connects to my audience. So, I want to show you this in action. I'm going to tell you, this is not something that I do often, okay? But I've been part of a music project. I compose and write and so forth, called Theater of Life. I've been doing it for the last 20 years. Have 5 albums out there. The earlier albums are absolutely not ready for public consumption. I wouldn't put those on you. But the later albums, I started to learn more about my craft and learn more about how to connect the creativity that I had and the ideas I had to an audience. And what I want to do is I want to play a snippet of one of the songs that I've written. It's just 1 minute. And I want to show you how that song follows this dramatic structure, this arc, okay? Now I'm going to give you a warning. It is me playing and singing. I'm not a singer, I'm a songwriter. But I'm going to treat you to both. And I'm going to talk a little bit over it, just because I want you to see how these elements fit together. Yeah? Sound okay? Okay, so here we go. So this is the introduction, setting up what we're going to be doing.
I'm walking through life and I'm faking it.
Start to rise the action.
And I'm barely making it, but I'll make it on my own. The passion was there, but I'm taking it and replaced it with a me I've never known.
Now we're bringing the climax.
Why do they always believe in me? Is it hard to see I'm just an average man?
Starting to fall.
I'm hoping that my insecurity will eventually reveal the fraud I am. That
And we resolve. And I won't play it for you, but just so that you remember it, a good song repeats it again. And that's it. Thank you. I'm glad I got that, because when you write a song about insecurity and you don't get a clap, that's not the best day of your life. Thank you. But why I wanted to show you this was because the best songs you've ever heard, and that might not be one of them, by the way, but the best songs you've ever heard, they connect to you, and this is the way they do it. I want you to go back, and I want you to listen to the songs that you love, popular music. They all follow this. And what they do is they take you on an emotional journey. They connect to you. And by doing that, you remember it. You feel what the composer wanted you to feel. That's the part of creativity that I don't think people always appreciate. It's not just about having good ideas. It's about connecting those ideas to your audience. So, this is not a music conference, this is a business conference. So, how do we apply this into business? You've probably seen this done incorrectly 1,000,000 times in your companies. I know because I've seen this done incorrectly 1,000,000 times in your companies. People have great ideas, but they can't tell their stories. They can't connect those ideas to the audience. They can't bring them out of here and into the world. The way you do it is not that difficult. You introduce the situation. You bring it on a rise to set up the problem. You climax by getting ready to solve that problem. Then you solve the problem. Then you show the results. Every problem you have in your company should follow this. Every idea should follow this. And when you do follow this, those ideas are going to start to connect. Does that make sense? So I wanted to give you a little bit more than just kind of telling you what could be done. I want to show you a little bit how to do it. Now that answers the expression question, at least partly. But there's still the question of, where do these great ideas come from? So we can study the brains of great thinkers, right? We can think about what Apple did. We talked about them. We can think about what IKEA did or any of the other great companies that had innovative ideas. And then when you come down to how did those people actually come up with those ideas, we say, not completely sure, okay? So I want to give you a little bit of a hint into maybe where those ideas can come from as well. And this is a tough one, but what I've done is using music as this analogy again and saying, okay, what do I do with music? What do the fellow musicians that I've seen and worked with do? And what do the artists and painters and great product people do? They follow a creative process. And the creative process that I have identified at least has 7 steps to it. Preparation, inspiration, genre, ideation, arrangement, orchestration, and production. And I have taken some of the music terms to put the analogy together, but I want to take you a little bit through each one of these, okay? The first one is preparation. Preparation is all about understanding where things come from. So I didn't just magically start sitting down at a piano and songs popping into my head, although I'm sure there are people that have done that. It's not the normal way. I spent years learning my instrument. I spent years learning music theory, understanding how music comes together, okay? There's foundational knowledge that I have to have. In business, it's the same thing. There's business theory and business frameworks. There's understanding your markets, your customers, your competitors, your industry. All of that forms foundational knowledge that when you do that homework, the ideas will start to flow. So that's part one. Next is inspiration. So we hear a lot about inspiration, and again, it's one of those things you think there's a lightning bolt that hits you from the head, and then all these things start flying into your soul. It's not quite the way that it works. Inspiration is about understanding what happens outside of yourself, okay? I always say that you're motivated by internal factors. I'm motivated to be a better person. I'm motivated to make more money. I'm motivated to be more profitable. That's what a lot of the strategies that I see look like. But inspiration comes from outside your company. You're inspired to help customers. You're inspired to change the world. That's what I want you to think about in business. And when you think outside of what you want to do for yourself, and instead think about how you want other people to feel, which we heard a lot about in the presentations today as well, that's where your inspiration is going to come from. Now, third piece is genre. Again, this is a musical term, and a lot of times when people think about genre, they think about style. I play jazz, I play rock, I play reggae. It's a style that I'm comfortable in. It's not the way I want you to think about it, because genre isn't necessarily a style. Genre is a preference. And when you think about genre as a customer preference, my market wants to hear rock and roll, my market wants to hear pop music, and instead of me wanting to be a rock star, I want to write great rock music that people love. That's a whole different world. You take those 3 things, preparation, inspiration, and genre, all of a sudden, the ideas are going to start to flow. Now, I can't teach you how to have ideas, but I can tell you that if you have that foundational knowledge, you understand what is outside of yourself that might be inspiring you, and you think about the target market and their preferences and what they need, you will get ideas. Now, you have to do something with those ideas. And that's where the next step comes in. As a musician, I have a ton of ideas, but I need to arrange them in a way that connects to you. That's what we talked about earlier. So taking those ideas and putting them into a format that can actually connect to the audience that I want to connect with. That's arrangement. Next step, orchestration. Because, especially in business and in music as well, you can't do it all yourself. Just impossible. You probably can try, but it's not going to be that effective. What you need to do is bring in other experts, bring in teams of people that can help you. As a musician, when I do that, and I bring in people that actually can sing or actually know how to play their instruments, all of a sudden, the music starts to come alive. And in your business, it will be the same thing. Product managers do this all the time. They feel like they have to control everything. They have to own everything. I have to know everything. Nah. Orchestrate it. That's going to help that arrangement come to life. And then the last part, in business we'll call it execution, but you have to produce it. Okay? Producing it is about putting it together in a way that people want to hear it, and also getting it out there to people so that they can hear it as well. Business, your production is going to be your execution. That's the creative process. It's not scientific. It's very intuitive, and it's something that anybody can do. But very few in business actually connect those dots. We hear the buzzwords: innovation, storytelling. Consultants like me go in and we make a lot of money on those buzzwords. But I'm not as interested in you coming away with the buzzwords. I want you to know actually how to apply them. And this is one way that you could do that. When you follow a creative process in business, you're going to be a rock star. So in a way, my plan A came true, because I kind of feel like a rock star when I can teach these things, and I can help other people utilize these tools to connect to their audience and have success with their products. So as luck would have it, these 7 steps, and a lot of what I just talked about, is in a new book that I just wrote called Creative Strategy Generation. Now, before you think this is a pitch for the book, it hasn't been, because I'm not looking to sell you a book. I'm actually looking to give you a book. And during the cocktail hour, I'm going to do just that. So every person here is going to go home with a copy of this book, okay? Because I want you to have this, and I want you to take it as one of your learnings from today and tomorrow. And I want you to remember some of these steps and try and apply them so that you can find your innovation and utilize it as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's such an amazing day, and I can't wait to talk to each one of you individually during the cocktail hour. So thank you. Oh, wow, you met one. You met a wonderful one. Okay. You know what I've learned?
I'm walking through life and I'm faking it, and I'm barely making it, but I'll make it on my own. The passion was there, but I've taken it and replaced it with a me I've never known. Why do they always believe in me? Is it hard to see I'm just an average